You're listening to Roger That on IRN, the Internet Radio Network. The following program contains strong language, very strong language, adult situations, possible alcohol use, definite drug use, and possible wombat sodomy. Viewer discretion is advised. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I loved your reaction at wombat sodomy. That touched me. You there, Patrick?
Yeah. I was thinking of a comeback. I don't have anything to come back with. I like the intro.
It's hard to come back. It's hard to come back to wombat sodomy. I'm gonna be honest with you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and everyone and everything in between. Roger that. Today is the 24th of October. We're pre-recording this for tomorrow night's broadcast on the IRN network. Big thanks to Mike for that one. Our guest this week is the fabulous, the good-looking, the handsome, the moderately intelligent, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Patrick Welsh with that fucking beard.
I'm happy to be here. So what show is this? Because I've been on a couple of your shows. So
this is the newest one. We're calling it Roger That. This is actually our second full episode after a shit show of a first one.
Okay, Roger. And you're streaming live on YouTube on what channel?
It is Roger That. That is the channel, Roger That. I'll send out links later. But Roger That. I've actually put a link on my Facebook page. I don't know if I said it public or friends only. I don't fucking remember.
Okay, see, I thought we were doing it on the sugar salt. I shared that one just in case somebody wanted to.
I appreciate that. I got to get back into making those. I've been slacking lately. Something about having a full-time job or some bullshit, you know.
Well, you have a person that watches my show, Bangin'. He requests you as a guest often, and he wants you to make more videos.
I will be making more videos soon. As far as getting back on your show, we can arrange something. I have a real day job now. I have a big boy job, so I have a normal 9 to 5 hours, but I can make something happen if you'd like.
You can do it in person, or we could do it via the interweb, regardless.
Whatever melts your butter, man. I'm easy like Sunday morning, and you know it.
Well, you know, in person's always better than via.
Oh, yeah.
So we can rub legs and hold hands afterwards. And
yeah, biggest reason why I'm doing this via Zoom is I'm a hermit. I don't like people coming over my house, and that's where I'm broadcasting from now. So, you know.
Okay. So I know. So you just do a show with Nicole, and then you're doing your food show. What is the premise of this show?
Well, we no longer do the show with Nicole. You're talking about the old Foo Bar Weekly. That has that has been put to bed since not this past January, the year before.
Yeah, I know that's over and done with. So I kind of know what that show was about. Are you kind of taking this solo, the same thing?
Yeah.
Basically?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing without the good-looking, intelligent co-host. She's got better shit to do. I get it. And I still love her to death. I absolutely talk to her all the time. But she's got her own stuff going on, so she no longer wanted to do it. So it's solo.
This stuff going, man. If you see people start shows and then they quit, if you last a couple years doing it, that's a feat. I feel like.
Well, we did Foo Bar from the end of 2016 to beginning of 2021, so 4.5 years.
Yeah, honestly, that's a feat in itself, because most people, you know how it is, man. People can't even be consistent weekly, and then they eventually quit things. And
yeah, well, you've been your show, I'm Not Right, has been you've been going for quite a long time now, right?
2.5 years solo, I do believe.
Okay.
I've spoken with Mike. I'm supposed to be joining the IRN as soon as we can get my stuff set up.
Yeah, he was he was telling me that you'd be coming on board, and that's awesome. Mike's a great guy.
For what Kevin Holly says, yeah, he seems like it, and you know Kevin. It's funny. Kevin, I think everybody's a nice guy in Kevin's world for the most part. He's one of those super optimistic.
Well, he's super optimistic. He's a friendly guy. He wants to see the good in people. You know, not like us where everybody's a piece of shit until they change our mind otherwise.
I don't go looking for that though. The people show me. I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't go. My wife got mad at me today. We were at the causeway and a truck came by, like a jacked up truck, and loud, just crap music, like rap music, modern day mumble rap playing. And I just go, what an idiot. And she's like, why do you always have to say that about people? I'm like, because he's an idiot. And she's like, what? And I said, he's driving a big, gigantic truck. He's listening to rap music. And she said something about, you don't have to let everybody know what you think. And I go, he doesn't have to let everybody hear his music. You know what I'm saying? Like he's blasting it.
If somebody comes by blasting something good, all right, cool. But a guy like that, a dude like that, man, he gets all the cousins at the family reunion. That's what it comes down to.
I'm a weirdo. Even if it went by and it's playing my favorite song, I still kind of go, do you really need to blast that? Nobody needs to hear your music. Like everybody talks about the people on speaker phones complaining about, but it's the truth, man. People have you listen to conversations and it's like, I don't want to listen, but I can't help but listen. The phone is on speaker. You're loud. The person's loud.
You know what I do with that? Anytime somebody, like not with speakerphone, when anytime somebody's on the phone but being loud about it, I'll talk to them. Like I'll make my own version of the other half of the conversation.
Okay. Larry David did that on a Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's sitting there by himself, and then a person gets sat beside him and is talking on a speakerphone with his earpiece in. And then so Larry David just starts speaking to nobody across the table from. He's like, so then I'm sitting there, and this guy's like, blah, 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 blah. And the guy on the phone looks over and he's like, do you mind or whatever? Like he's confused what Larry, and he's like, I'm doing no different than what you're doing, like I said back in the day, like, and when you would see people walking down the streets and just screaming out, you knew that they were probably a little bit kooky. Nowadays they could be on a cell phone. You have no idea.
Yeah, but nowadays, I mean, you say you have no idea, but you could see if somebody's got earbuds in. But now if I'm on, like, if I'm up in the city, up in New York City, and I see somebody on the subway, like talking to themselves loud, and I don't see anything in their ears, that's the imaginary Bluetooth where they're talking to God at that point.
Or who knows, maybe the government's beaming thoughts into their head and we laugh at them. They're one of those targeted individuals.
we stranger shit has been done by the fucking government. So
have you heard about that? There are just regular old people that claim like the government messes with them. And I said, there's so many of them that you wonder, like, wouldn't it be crazy if they were being messed with and we think they're all kooky?
Some dude just disappeared with his family, like thought the CIA and the FBI were after him. So like he called 911, voiced his concern, said like the government's coming to get me. And like him and his family of 4 like fucking vanished. And I think it happened in it was somewhere up north. They found them. They left one state. They found them all okay and safe in another with guy just had some kind of a breakdown. But you're right. At some point, enough people are saying there's got to be something going on. And to be honest with you, when you look at the history of the government's fucking with the public, the unwilling public, anything's possible, man. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but anything's possible.
I played a very good documentary on my show today because I went to the Causeway with Shannon. I'm Not Right Network. If anybody's listening would like to check it out on Twitch. And I played a documentary called The Minds of Men. And it broke down a lot of brainwashing and the techniques that they use. They literally can control people's minds. Like they did. This is back in the 60s, 50s. They could remove thoughts from your mind and replace them with thoughts, things that never happened. And that was the idea. And my buddy Chris, shout out to you. Fucking new friend, awesome fucking guy. Like, dude's aces. But he said MK Ultra, the Tuskegee syphilis experiments. The has a long fucking history of fucking with people. If you go up to Canada, there was a doctor, I think it was a Dr. Cameron, and he was kind of loosely involved with MK Ultra in a way. And he did stuff up there, like experiments that were insane. And yet the place he did it, it's still open. They still do things there. And it was known, like they did horrendous shit to like children and people's minds. And dude, there's a story of one guy, I can never remember if they told him he either killed his mom or he needed to kill his mom. But they found out sleep deprivation is how you can really manipulate people's minds. And they kept this guy awake and they just kept playing either you killed your mom or you need to kill your mom over and over and over on a loop. So after like 24 hours, he either thought he had to kill his mom or he did kill his. I think it was he thought he killed his mom. Like he was so emotional that he thought he had killed his mom. They brainwashed him into believing that. And that was in the 60s, man. Nowadays they have
you know what the most dangerous words in the English language are, right?
Well, what? I'm the government from the government. I'm here to help. Or?
Yeah, I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Okay. So speaking of government, you and I have talked about government related things, and we're not getting political with this, but the reason why I had Patrick come on is because I couldn't get an actual attorney. So Patrick's the next best thing. Dude put on a jacket and a button-up shirt, looking spiffy as fuck, I must say. So I wanted somebody to come on so we could talk about this trial going on in Waukesha, Wisconsin. The psycho son of a bitch that ran his car through the parade last year. Killed.
I actually have to interrupt you. If you follow the media, they said the SUV did it. If you remember, every headline it said SUV plows into SUV, SUV, SUV. They highlighted the SUV over and over and over. I even went and looked at some of the headlines for today. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's
a good point.
This has been so insane for so long how they have framed this, because it didn't fit the narrative. That was a white guy that ran into could you imagine if it was a white guy during a fucking MLK parade or something? Here, like they're calling him like Waukesha Parade. Wait, let me see, because Waukesha Parade suspect. That's what the current news titles, the headlines say. Waukesha Parade suspect. Now, wait, was he a suspect at the parade? He fucking killed people, man. Like,
yeah. But the flip side is, the system, it's you're innocent until proven guilty. So everything is alleged. They
don't even include in like Waukesha Parade massacre. Like they just say Waukesha Parade suspect. What's that parade?
That goes to the media fucking putting a stupid ass spin on it to they either want to scare people or they want to sugarcoat shit. I don't like things being sugarcoated because I'll fucking eat it. All right. But it's blowing my mind. But watching this trial has captivated. The only other trial in recent times that I could say like captivated me was the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. For two reasons. One, I just wanted to see how batshit crazy this broad was. Two, I wanted to see how dog shit terrible her attorneys were, because they were awful. But it was just it was different to see the perspective of a civil case. I could think of a bunch of big criminal trials that have been covered in the media big time in my life. I mean, the first one I can remember is the John Hinckley trial, who attempted to assassinate President Reagan. I remember that trial.
Let me ask you before you go into the Waukesha stuff. Did your thoughts on Johnny Depp change after that trial from prior to the trial?
Not really. Mainly because my feelings on Johnny Depp are pretty fucking neutral. He's an actor. He acts in shit that I go to see. He's a good actor. He's entertaining. I like a lot of his films. But quite honestly, I really couldn't give two shits about his personal life. What sucks is the fact that she was so fucking overboard with that she's such a nut job. She made him look sane.
Yeah, that's what's scary is I didn't watch too much of it because I don't really care about their personal life, but she seemed like she definitely has multiple screws loose. And she seemed like she was manipulative of him to where she wasn't she was the horrible person in the relationship. I would say 100% for sure. He seems like he's and his problem.
From what I saw, what he admitted to, what was brought up, in court, neither of them are perfect angels. But, Johnny didn't, he wasn't the piece of shit in that relationship. She literally was. Well, she left it on the bed.
I find it interesting that him and Doug Stanhope are like great friends. I don't know if you're aware of that. Johnny
Depp surprises you though?
Stanhope, but I'm talking about like good friends. Like Stanhope will be in France with him with Bingo and hanging out with just them, and that doesn't surprise me at all.
I didn't know that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, they've been friends for years, I guess. I could see you being drawn to a Stanhope, but that's just interesting. How did they cross paths and then start hanging out? Because Johnny Depp's, I don't think he's hanging out with tons of people, probably. Like
probably not. He seems kind of hermitish. You know, he goes out when he can, but Stanhope's almost the same way. I mean,
what I'm saying, like, how did they meet up? That's weird that those two are hanging out. You don't like people?
I love Stanhope.
Oh, I've seen him more than any comic live. I've driven.
Really?
Yeah, I've many times. He's by far to me, he's the ultimate comic. And again, I love Stanhope all the way to Brian Regan, which tells you how comedy is, because those are two different. But yeah, I said, if you listen to Regan, he's angry, man. Regan's actually an angry person. He has ire with a lot of things about humanity. And I want to talk about, let's seriously talk about this, because you probably have ire with the jackass that's trying to represent himself, right?
I do. And you know, one of the reasons why, you know, you coming on, you know, tonight was good, because you've had some, you know, experience in a courtroom once or twice. I have once or twice, acquitted on all the charges, motherfuckers.
Ooh.
But, well, no, I was never actually. I mean, I've been in criminal court, but always prosecuting the case. Never. Long story. We're not going to get into that part, but I've been in court enough to know the basics of protocol and decorum. And this dude, if you folks out there in listener land are not following this or even checking out the highlights, I can't think of a comedy on the air right now that is funnier than this. And the sad part of it is that 6 people died and 70 something were injured over this.
Like 70 charges, I think. That's what I guess. It would be funny if there wasn't that underlying reality of it. I want to say something first. I haven't heard him actually say he's a sovereign citizen, but I've heard people say that. And I want to say that's an oxymoron. You can't be a sovereign citizen. You're either a citizen or you're sovereign.
He's actually taking the line and said in court on the record, I am a sovereign, not a sovereign citizen, a sovereign.
So that's what's interesting, because I've listened to some of his arguments about jurisdiction, and a lot of what he says, I fucking agree with. I actually agree with. But here's the thing. You're not talking about like a cannabis possession where there's no victim, no crime. You're not talking about unlegal theft of money from you as a worker. You know what I'm saying? Like taxes. Okay. You fucking are accused of killing people, regardless of how sovereign you think you are. You can't go around fucking killing people and get away with it. Hey, guess what? You go to the Navajo Nation, they're a sovereign nation. Murder's not allowed there. They don't allow people to just haphazardly murder people.
And I was waiting for one of the witnesses, and I thought one of the detectives was actually going to, because he was asking every person that was on that stand, you know, who is the plaintiff in this matter? You know, it's the state of Wisconsin. Well, you know, have you ever met the state of Wisconsin? Do you see the state of Wisconsin? I was waiting for the detective to be like, yes, it's all those people sitting there, all those people watching on TV. That is the people of the state of Wisconsin.
So I kind of agree with them there in a way, because you really need to have an accuser to take you to court. Now, here's the thing, like, I wonder this, because the state does step in. Most of the time, if you go to court, it's the state that's prosecuting. It's the state that's bringing the charges. There's not a regular person that's actually charging somebody else. The state steps in. So I wonder this somewhat, like, could it be to where maybe the victims of the family should have to be bringing the charges? Like,
well, no, because the system's pretty outlined as far as you know. This is actually what I haven't checked, and I should have looked into. I know I've been in through criminal court in the state of New York, and the headline on your court paperwork, the heading, it says the people of the state of New York. Now, I don't know how it is in Wisconsin, if it's the same way. I don't even know how it is in Florida. But the people of the state of New York are being represented by the district attorney's office, which is an elected position. And the attorneys that are working the case. So that's I know, I can connect the dots from the New York side.
I can understand how they things are on paper, but I truly wonder that, like, not to side with this lunatic, but some of it is true. Like, people could go around and make up all these things on paper, but
they do.
Did any of us consent to it? So at what point does it get to where I'm not a part of this? You have no jurisdiction over me in this aspect. But again, I said, when it comes to him, though, that's thrown out, man. You aggressed against somebody. You physically harm people.
Well, that's when he says, where's the injured party? Well, the injured party are the people who are dead and the people who are injured. Now, the state
law was that way.
Well, the state passed the law saying XYZ was illegal. You violated the state law. Therefore, it's the people of the state bringing these charges against you. When it comes to, there has to be an injured party. Now you're talking about civil litigation, and that's a completely different animal.
Oh, I'm aware how the actual system's set up, but I've argued for years, like, there should be no laws for cannabis. If you get caught with dried flowers from a plant, I believe in that to have a crime, you have to have a victim. In this case, there's a victim.
Correct.
There isn't a victimless crime. There's many victims. And to see, dude, I don't know how somebody hasn't taken care of the guy. Even is he locked, like, sequestered to where people can't get him?
I think he's in protective custody.
He would have to be, right? Because I would think they would look at him almost like a chomo, a child molester.
He killed a kid. One of the victims was a kid. There is no love for that in prison. I can tell you that for a fact. Child molesters in prison, they have a bad time.
They're separated themselves. The chomos are separated because even a killer knows when you mess with a child that innocence and whatnot. That's just crazy. A person can be a lunatic, taking another person's life, but yet they still know you don't mess with little kids. Like,
adult, I have no problem. Not to say that I don't have a problem with it, but, like, you get involved in something you shouldn't get involved in, you end up getting whacked. Hey, that's business. But when it comes to kids, that's a fucking hard no. That is, the ultimate sin is fucking with children or fucking children, however it might be. So don't fuck children. That's kind of the point there.
But I've watched some of this, and to see him question the people that had families there and talk to them, like, how could hardcore narcissism, right? The way he's acting, like, beyond, like, that's off the scale narcissism. I saw some of his antics, taking his clothes off, building a little fort. Doesn't he have the Bible there now? He has the Bible sitting by him.
He's got the Bible there now. Now what's interesting is I've been watching a lot of footage on this trial. That judge, first of all, where were these good-looking judges? Like this one, the one that oversaw the sentencing phase of the Parkland shooter, she was a fucking smoke show. Like, I'd bang this judge.
That's what I wondered about this judge. Was she dressed like that normally? Was she going in kind of nice?
She probably got her hair done, her makeup done, her nails done. This is national TV shit.
And I know people are pointing out that she's doing a good job of not losing her cool, because that'll lead to a mistrial, is what a lot of people believe.
She's giving him more than she probably needs to, as far as leeway and, explaining shit to him.
He should be held in contempt, like, so much. Like,
but here's the thing, though. He's in custody. So he's in custody facing 6 possible life sentences. So what is she going to do? Sentence him to 30 days in county lockup? Holding him in contempt is pointless, and it would just prolong the trial, and it gives him an out to declare it a mistrial. Well, in the middle of it, she held me in contempt.
That's what they said. I was watching some of the stuff, and, like, he didn't have his papers to question the witnesses, and he was saying, like, you're rushing to judgment. That's not fair. I don't have my papers. And she's like, that's your fault. And he's literally making a mockery of the system. And like I said, in some ways I agree. Like I said, with some of the things he's doing, but dude, these ain't things where there's no victim. There's multiple victims involved. You're out of your mind. And a lot of people think that too. He's going for the insanity to where he won't get I don't know, what do they have death sentence in Wisconsin, right?
No, he's at most facing one life sentence per times the 6 people he killed.
So they don't possibly run. They don't have life. They don't have a death sentence that he could go.
He's not. They're not going for it in this. The worst he's facing at this point, just off of the 6 that died, would be 6 life sentences, possibly served consecutive.
Okay, and they say that there was no premeditation, but he was the Spotify rapper where it was a bunch of anti-white bullshit. There was the videos on social media where he talked about killing people, right?
And they played the video of him to this one video that was shot has not only him, but the Ford Escape vehicle that he used was in there with the license plate shown. They played the video with no sound. So the jury doesn't know what the content of that video was.
Are you serious?
Well, the judge and to be honest with you, the prosecutor is kind of going with it. They're giving this guy every opportunity. They're giving him more leeway than they really need to. The prosecutor even said, we should play this with sound, but we believe that it might push the jury a little too far. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just play the video portion so we can see his face and that license plate in the same frame. And this dude lost his shit. He lost his shit saying that they shouldn't play it at all.
And didn't he use that vehicle like a couple weeks prior to run somebody down or whatever? Where
his baby mama, girlfriend, whoever the fuck she was,
he was let out on bail with. Yeah. I love these district attorneys in these cities, man. They're just letting them go to hell. You can go beat the shit out of somebody, rob them, broad daylight. They won't even throw you in a cell for longer than a couple hours. And you're right back
in New York. They'll give you Mets tickets and a cell phone.
It's really bad, man. A lot of places, and the district attorney, my understanding is it's a lot of George Soros back shit. Of course, people don't want to talk about that, but you can go look at, we'll start going down the yay route, and don't get me started on entertainment.
Soros, the Rothschilds, the Cooks, they're all fucking funding it.
If you go look though, you can look at fucking funds that and PACs and like things that do the funding and
and it's all fuck. But we're not getting to the political end of this. We're just talking about this defendant in and of himself and this shit case that he
politics, though. You know damn well if that was Whitey McWhitey and they wouldn't be allowing such a big fucking scene. The sovereign citizen Alex Jones would be told to shut the fuck up. And I think it would be.
Well, no, the only I could say for sure from what I'm seeing, race isn't playing into the trial portion of this. What this judge doesn't want to do, or what the judge definitely wants to do with the process, they want to win this mainly to shut down some of the bullshit of the sovereign argument.
Oh, I'm sure.
If he wins or if it's a hung jury. If he wins or it's a hung jury, that's a win for, a hung jury is a win. So they need to take every step that they can, giving him more than he should have just to get that conviction. One of the big things was when the jury wanted to see the vehicle. So they set it up at the Sally Port of the jail. And the judge said, we don't want to use actually, I think it was a prosecutor actually said, we don't want to use the word Sally Port because it's connected to the jail. And it shows that it's, he's incarcerated. And they wanted to have him in such a way down there because he had to be there to witness the jury looking at this. They wanted him situated in a way where the same number of deputies surrounding him was the same number of deputies surrounding the prosecutors, that he was in such a way that they couldn't see him in the leg shackles, and he's like, oh, well, what does it matter? Everybody knows I'm in jail. Yeah, but to see you in shackles versus just see you in court or see you standing there in a suit versus the corrections jumpsuit, it's a perspective thing. Yeah, the jury probably knows that you are in custody, but why make it apparent? Because that just they're going to see you in prison garb with leg chains on and be like, he's fucking guilty. Fuck him.
Okay, I just have an hypothesis right now. So we were talking about the government targeted individuals and doing stuff with their brains. Maybe wouldn't it be crazy if they kind of orchestrated this to make it a little bit of a circus to really shut down the sovereign citizen? Because
I don't that's a little too extreme. I think there are other ways they could have done it.
This is, from the stuff I've seen, this is cartoonish.
God.
This is not normal. Even a person that's out of their fucking mind to continue on. He's like a damn Andy Kaufman or a fucking Emo Phillips or something, like.
But he doesn't get it. Like, he keeps when he starts like acting up and won't let her get a word in, he's running his mouth. She moves him to the next courtroom where he has a microphone and he has speakers and he can see and hear everything that's going on. He keeps saying, "Oh, you're going to hold me in contempt."
Didn't he have an objection thing and he shoved it down his pants? Had like a card up for objection. And my understanding is he's objecting to pretty much everything. And he's saying, that's my right, here's what's interesting. So he claims he's a sovereign, but yet he cites these rights that are from the system that he's supposedly separated from. So make up your mind. Are you a sovereign? Or are you not? Because if you're not, then you can't cite any of those rights because they don't apply to you.
Yep. You declared that as no when you said you're sovereign. Now, Chris here says they're trying to win this case on facts and evidence instead of playing to the sensational aspects of it. 100%. 100%. Now, a lot of those outbursts that he has, the jury's not in the courtroom for. And when he starts having those outbursts, the judge will dismiss or will send the jury out of the room.
So did they televise the jury selection?
I don't know if they televised it. Obviously, the jurors are not shown, or, no information is shown.
They probably can't televise that because that's not the actual court. I would love to have seen him questioning, because the attorneys, jury selection, it's actually deselection. You eliminate people and then you end up with your jury. And just how you ask questions. I would love to have seen the stuff that he was asking. And
I don't think, because you can't ask too many questions. Any question you ask has to be relevant to your, impartial view and your ability to, judge.
Remember, I've done dude, I said, unlike a lot of lawyers, I've actually done a jury selection. I guarantee you the majority of attorneys have never done a jury selection because there's not that many jury trials. That's what's comical, is like most things, they don't make it to a jury trial. There's always some type of settling. It's usually the first time you go, the public defender goes, "Well, I can do this and this," and you go, "Okay." And then
as long as it keeps me out of jail, I'll pay a fine.
Yeah, they go, "Okay, here's what it is. You go jail for 2 years, or we got this over here. It's a lesser thing. You'll give us some money and do a little bit of community service." But you get to kind of talk a little bit. Like if you want to focus on one more, you can. But yeah, it's general. And here's the thing: a lot of the questions are, if I remember right, the judge kind of asked. Like it was, does anybody know anybody in law enforcement? Like, or does anybody not know anybody in law enforcement? Does anybody know the person that's like the like in my case, it was an arresting officer. Anybody know him? One lady actually knew him since he was a fucking child. Well, I'm going to get rid of her. And the judge got rid of her. We're not going to allow a person that's known the prosecuting, or not the prosecuting, but the arresting officer since a child. But I would like to have seen that. And then I wonder, he was saying that too, that he can't get an honest trial or whatever in that area. Well, then go kill dude. Where do you think he's gonna go?
That's the thing. He tried for a change of venue. No matter where you go, it was such a front page story that people know. And here's the thing of it. It has to be within the state of Wisconsin. It can't go out of state. So it has to be within the state. So I mean, no matter what, you're going to face the same thing as far as a jury pool goes. And what you can hope for at best as a defendant is that you can get enough people in, enough of a jury pool in where you can find people that will look at both sides of the argument and not just be like, "Oh, he's already arrested. He's wearing, his orange prison jumpsuit. He's got leg shackles on. He's guilty. Fuck him."
But don't you think though, and most, like he's guilty? I mean,
From all the evidence that I have seen, now I'm only seeing it through a television. I'm not physically in the courtroom. And by the way, I must disclaim this: not a single thing we're talking about should be construed as any kind of legal advice. But from what I've seen, there is no fucking way in hell he's going to be found innocent. You know, he's going to be found not guilty. The only argument he could have had was because right before that happened, he got into a fight with his baby mama or some shit. There was an altercation away from the parade, or not right at the parade, and he got in his car and took off. He could have taken an angle of diminished mental capacity based on the emotions of getting into the fight, that he just lost his shit and didn't know. But he's not even approached that. And he's had, I forget how many different psychological evaluations he's had. All of them say he's got his shit together, and you'll watch him today. What the hell was he? It had something to do with the jury instructions. He's rested his case, although he didn't choose to rest his case by actually saying I'm done. He rested his case by not shutting the fuck up and respecting the judge and not allowing the procedure to happen. So, the judge said, all right, well, you're not going to stick to the question. We're done. Your case, your case is rested. But anyway, so they were going over jury instructions, and he was like, I don't understand. And then he started making an argument that was quite articulate. It was wrong, but it was at least well thought out to his, mental capacity and fucking nut jobness. But for him to say he doesn't understand is complete bullshit. It's just him trying to prolong the inevitable is what it comes down to.
And he's out of his mind for what I've seen, but listening to him, he's still coherent and knows what's going on. I would say 100% for sure. And he's not a complete idiot either, I don't think. I think that's what's weird. Like when it comes to speaking and like knowledge and whatnot, like he's not a fucking idiot, but the fact that he's doing this, he is. I don't know, dude. Seriously, how could you sit there and question people knowing that, okay, let's assume that he is guilty, that you killed people they were related to, and you're asking them questions and just with your fucking mask on, like,
and so, like the witnesses he called for his own defense did nothing for him. Did nothing. He called one guy was somebody who was injured. Was the Spanish guy that had the interpreter. He called two other dudes that were at the parade. I think one of them, his kid was injured, but like they had nothing to offer. Nothing.
So then what was the point? Like, how was that allowed? Do they allow you to just call any witness that you want? I mean, I don't think
they have to be connected to it. So you're either calling a witness that's an expert, a recognized expert in the field, like a, forensics expert, something like that, or you're calling someone who has direct knowledge or information related to the event. So he could have called any person that was at that parade.
Oh my gosh. So he's arrested, and then as the defense, as the prosecution, is it done, or is it going to the jury, or what's
so in a criminal trial, full length criminal trial, the prosecution goes first, then the defense goes. Defense kind of gets, it's like a baseball game. Defense gets last licks. So now, so in presenting the case, or we'll start it from the beginning. Opening statement. Prosecutor makes theirs, defense makes his. Right. Goes to the presentation of the evidence phase, they call it. The state calls their witnesses, shows that has their experts come in, shows their evidence. He gets to present his case by calling his witnesses, presenting his evidence. That's the point where they're at now. They just finished that. The next step is their closing arguments. Prosecution goes first, then he goes, but normally there's a chance for the prosecution to rebut the case. So the prosecution could have had a moment when his case rested to rebut anything, but they didn't have to. I mean, the one witness, the judge asked the prosecutor, how much time do you need for redirect? And the prosecuting attorney's answer was 0 minutes. We don't need to do anything. He fucked it up himself.
That's what I heard Somebody say that he's been the best prosecutor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Defending himself.
But so what's going to happen tomorrow? Tomorrow morning, they're going to bring the jury in. You know, they're going to do their normal housekeeping, going over shit in the morning. They'll bring the jury in. Then they'll read the jury their deliberation instructions, what they can use, what they can't use, the things they can and can't do for the deliberation process. Then, well, actually, I think they read them. They may read the instructions first, then give closing arguments, or they're going to give closing arguments tomorrow and then read the jury instructions the following day. I'm not 100% sure on that. Again, I'm not a fucking lawyer. I fucked a lawyer once, but I'm not a fucking lawyer. So the last step is their closing argument. So the prosecution's going to give theirs, and she's giving each party 1 hour to deliver their closing argument.
Oh my gosh.
And he was going off that he's going to tell the jury the truth tomorrow. Now, he didn't take the stand. When you're on trial for anything, whether it's, a traffic ticket or 6 counts of fucking murder, you have the choice whether or not to testify. You cannot be forced to testify because you have your Fifth Amendment right to, against self-incrimination, or you can take the choice to testify and possibly present a defense. This guy had nothing. He didn't testify. So he's going to try and use his closing argument time as his testifying, because the prosecution can't ask him any questions. They can object, but they can't answer any questions. And what the judge specifically said was she's giving each party an hour. Prosecution goes first. If they don't use their full hour, whatever time they have remaining from the hour, they can use as a rebuttal after he does his shit.
So they're not going to say hardly anything. And then.
No, I think I have a feeling their closing argument is going to be quite short, quite to the point, and they're going to turn it over to him and leave extra time for their rebuttal. So, I mean, it's going to be, if he's not convicted, I will be shocked. And if he's not convicted, it has nothing to do with the evidence and case that the prosecutors laid out. It's going to be the jury thinking he's just so fucking batshit crazy that it's going to end up in a hung jury. There's no way it's going to be not guilty unanimous, but there's a chance for a hung jury. Now, if it's a hung jury, it's a mistrial. He gets tried again.
He'll be more prepared.
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion. Well, I mean, one would assume, using logic and common sense, that if it does end up in a hung jury, the second time around, he will work with an attorney, as he should have from the beginning. Like I've said, anybody who represents himself in court has a fool for a client. So
he probably, in all honesty, from what you said, and I would say his background, though, if he didn't have all those priors, he might have been able to use the mentally distraught, whatever, and I was just in another world and didn't realize. But the fact that he had so many priors, and he has the social media and the rapping, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he had an attorney, he could have maybe used that. But now he's
at least had the attorney. An attorney could have prevented his priors from coming into play. They could have, an attorney could have prevented that. He did nothing, not a single thing to defend himself. Nothing. All he did was argue with the judge. That's it.
Wouldn't it be insane, though, if they got another sovereign type thinking person on there to go along and go, yeah, I agree with him there. That's his only chance, I would say, is to get another sovereign person that thinks that he's.
But the thing is, even from that angle, even if you had somebody that didn't identify with the sovereign movement, but was on the fence and curious about it and could be swayed, he did such a shitty job representing that mentality that.
Well, and again, like I said, this isn't tax evasion or possession of illegal drugs. You literally harmed, dude. You harmed more than was in like my senior class at my fucking school. One of the schools I went to, you know what I'm saying? That was the size of our senior class. You fucked up the lives of that many people. Like,
See, I don't agree with the sovereign movement at all. It's, I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
yeah,
But I can
argue that. Do you realize that everybody was a sovereign until the 14th Amendment?
Well, yeah.
But people say like they think it freed the slaves and gave them their citizenship. What people in the States weren't citizens until that. That actually made people citizens. You were just a regular old person living and doing your things. So,
and as societies evolve, and but I can understand, taking that sovereign angle for something like a simple marijuana possession. You got a fucking bag on you, to me, again, I agree with you 100% on this, that it is, I don't see why it should be illegal. I can't figure that out. So to take that angle on that, but murder is something like he's sitting there reading the fucking Bible. Well, doesn't thou shalt not kill? Isn't that in the Bible? I mean, it's been a hot minute since I read the Bible. Not a big fan these days, but
though I drive through the Christmas parade, right?
Yeah, I don't think. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that was even a Christmas. But how are you going to say you're a good Christian? You drove through the fucking Christmas parade, you dick.
Would you believe that that the Bears are beating New England 10-0 right now?
How much time's in the game?
It's almost into the first quarter.
Okay, it's still time, but still,
the Bears are lucky to score 10 points the entire game. So to do it in the first quarter that's
pretty impressive.
Yes, that's
so. Are they really good, or is New England looking really shitty?
I have no idea. I just put on the game right now. Well, Mac Jones just overthrew. I don't know who that was. I think it was Dante Popper, wide open. Gonna be as bad as the Bucks yesterday, though. That was one of the worst things. I
heard. I didn't watch it, but I heard. All I know is my Giants are off to a good start. I'm happy.
Shockingly, man, they are playing. Dude, Daniel Jones is actually playing like I thought he was going to play a couple years ago.
Hey, man, sometimes it takes time, but their new head coach, Giants' new head coach, I like him. He's a fat guy. I like him.
Well, dude, both New York teams, man. The Jets. Yeah, but the Jets head coach, he's got them. Dude, they got a good team, man. And they're young, but then their running back, he's out for the season. That Breece Hall just hurt his knee, out for the season. So
the Jets are they're like the little brother. They're on rebuilding year 54 or something like that. I don't know.
Well, they've never, and a little bit with Parcells, they were okay. You know what I'm saying? They had a couple year with Vinny and Parcells and whatnot. And then
the Jets in the past 54 years, whatever the fuck it is, the Jets have been perfect at almost getting there and then just shit in the bed.
Dude, I'm a Chargers fan, and they can never get there, man. They always have like the best talent, and they always get injuries, and then something happens.
I don't think I've ever met someone who identifies as a Chargers fan.
San Diego, baby. I'll never identify as LA Chargers. Hell with it.
Okay. I can get that. A guy that I know played for the Chargers.
Who was that?
What the fuck is his name? He played football here in Brandon. I just blanked on his fucking name.
There's so many from Florida. It's insane.
Yeah. And then Junior Seau played for the Chargers.
Sad Seau.
Yeah. I was a big fan of his back in the day, man. I had one of his shirts that say "ow."
You didn't have, I thought you were a Sean Merriman fan. Lights Out. Remember?
No.
I couldn't stand him. I did not like him. I don't remember him. Sean Merriman. He get a sack.
Yeah.
He would do Lights Out dance like he was turning off a light switch or something.
Yeah, anybody that does that shit's fucking annoying. But Junior Seau was a hell of a fucking ball player.
Hey, let me ask you, you played sports. I don't understand why. So they'll intercept the ball and then run like almost to the other end of the field so they can all pose. Now they're allowed to do that. A couple years prior, they were allowed to have teams.
Oh, they're allowed to do that now?
Dude, they run down. So do you not watch the NFL?
Not often.
Dude, they'll intercept the ball on the 40. On the other side of the 40, they'll run 60 yards into the end zone because there's a camera down there, the whole defense. And they all go and they pose and take pictures. And I'm like, shouldn't you save your energy? You know what I'm saying? It's
I played football for a really long time, and to me, those touchdown celebrations, other than like the guy that scored the touchdown, like the icky shuffle, that was cool. I was fine with that because it was like, a little quick thing and spike the ball and that's it. But like these whole like long-winded, almost taunting type celebrations, and the ones that celebrate the fucking biggest are the ones that are usually getting their dicks knocked in the dirt.
Well, the worst is when they're down by like 15 and there's 6 minutes to go and they get a first down on a reception and they get up and they're like first down and they're all like, dude, you've been getting your ass kicked all day. You're down by 2 scores. You're not coming back and you're celebrating.
I gotta be honest with you. I coached a game once. I think it was like 10-year-olds, and it was a league that was, a lot of the teams were very unmatched. And we were quite a weak team. We had a couple of good players. Actually, got a couple players that developed older as great players. But this one particular game, we got a first down our first down of the game was in the fourth quarter, almost at the end of the game. It was a complete blowout, and the fucking other head coach put his fucking first string fucking team back in because we got a first down. It was like, first down and, on our own fucking like 5-yard line. So we had the whole fucking field to go. There was no chance of us pulling anything out. And, he put his first string back in because we got a first down. I'm like, you're going to fucking hurt my kids out here. Just stop being a dick. That was the only time I ever walked off the field without acknowledging the other team's head coach. And we almost got into a fucking fight. Should have.
Yeah, that's not cool especially when they're younger. It's like, come on, man. My daughter plays lacrosse, and one team, they're taught to be so aggressive and run and smack the stick constantly. So every defensive player, that's all they're doing is running it, which is legal. You know what I'm saying?
It's fucking annoying.
And at times they'll get yellow cards and they'll have to go off. But it's like, I can understand it a little bit, but this is all the time. Those kids are just constantly running and just trying to hit the sticks.
That is the mark of a shitty coach.
And they won too, though. They won the championship because of the way they play.
I mean, they're playing the intimidation game, which I get, but there are ways to do it, man. There's ways to do it and not be a fucking asshole about it. But that's the sign of a shitty coach when. That's probably was one of the deciding factors of the game is scared the shit out of you girls. You scare the shit out of the other team, which, I mean, if that's your strategy, that's your strategy. But I'd rather win off of the team's abilities as opposed to just intimidating the other team.
Well, I know some people question that, like in basketball, like full court pressing all the time. That's considered like a no-no, like in the NBA or college. You know what I'm saying? To constantly
it takes a sportsman angle out of it. It's like going deer hunting with a fucking grenade launcher. Yeah, you're going to kill it, but I mean, why?
But then as a part of it, though, that is the game. Like I've thought both ways. You know what I'm saying? As part of the game, adjust to it. Learn how to break the full court press. Learn how to pass the ball. They were like triple teaming people and smacking them with the sticks. And I'm like, if they're triple teaming you, you should be throwing it to an open person. You know what I'm saying? So it's partially on my daughter's team as well, but...
True, but and that's the flip side is a team like that, a team that's constantly full court pressing, that's all they can do. They're doing that because that's all they can do. If you can break that, you can break the team. By the way, you're the first parent I've encountered in Florida that their kid plays lacrosse.
Well, it's girls, so
it's lacrosse. I mean, lacrosse was huge up north.
Oh, I'm aware it's expensive too. It's expensive. Yeah. She's playing club lacrosse right now. So we drive to Tampa 2 nights a week for her to practice for 2 hours. Last week we were in Brandon on Saturday and Sunday. We drove down there all day for game.
Where was the game?
At the Premier Sports Complex, I think.
That's like right by my house.
Out on 70 is where it was. Did I say Brandon?
Not 60. Out on...
It was
Bradenton.
Yeah, not Brandon.
Bradenton. Yeah, okay.
On 70. It was down off of 70 down there.
Okay.
And then the next one, we're in like Apopka, and then we're somewhere else. So yeah, it's driving around, and
When my daughter was playing soccer, it was the same thing.
Oh, our other daughter's in soccer too. Dude, they're just the two of them. It's like $1,500 for the two of them to play sports. Like,
yeah. Well, dude, let me tell you, marching band ain't cheap either.
Oh, they did it too. They had their instruments, and we paid hundreds of dollars, and then they're in the band for like 2 years, and then that we're trying to sell clarinet right now. Anybody needs a clarinet? Get in touch.
There you go. No, dude, Raj is the drum major at the high school. He gives the invisible man a hand job or whatever the fuck he does.
Really a march with drums, and he's wears them and.
No. The drum major stands up on the podium and he essentially leads the band. He's conducting the band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's for lack of a better term, he's the band leader.
So what do you watch him up there going and you see the football team behind and you shed a tear?
No, because his high school's football team is they're less than stellar. I don't want to shit on kids, but they're not that good.
What school is it?
Brandon High School.
Have they ever been good?
Very long time ago. And what's funny is one of the other kids in his band, one of the girls that's on color guard, I coached with her father. You know, her father coached with me years ago, and we were talking about it at the last game. He turns to me, he's like, "Think we could turn this shit around?" I'm like, "We probably could, but fucking why?"
Now, let me just make sure. Color guard has nothing to do with like back in the 60s or anything, 50s, right? This is a band thing.
No, this is a band thing. It's they dance, they twirl rifles, they got flags they throw in the air and do.
Still not convincing me. It's not.
You're like, it's an interpretive dance thing.
Around.
No. This is not Ohio State. It's, you know, they tell the story of the song through interpretive dance and other actions. Actually, really, their color guards are actually really good. It's color guard as in the flag colors.
Picture Will Ferrell in Old School spinning around.
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, but you know, they got a great group of kids in the band. Raj actually is. He was just. It was just announced he's going to be doing tri-state, so he's representing his high school and the state of Florida at this big band thing up in Tallahassee, up at Florida State. So that's another fucking thing I got to pay for.
And do you have to drive to that or?
Well, it actually works out. There's an event that his band goes to that's right before this. So he'll actually go up with the band, stay up there the whole week, and then we'll drive up for the performance and then take them home.
See, that's not, dude. The sports that my children are involved in, they have to, like my daughter's a cheerleader. We had to take her to the games, the lacrosse games. They have to drive. There's no we're lucky to have buses for them to go to school, let alone sporting events.
My kids don't take a bus to school. I have to drive them.
Yeah, ours, if they're outside of 2 miles, they get a bus. Inside 2 miles, they
here in Hillsborough County, my kids are choiced. So with the choice program, if the different high schools have different programs that they excel at, this school happened to have a good marching band at the time. So Raj wanted to go there. So if you go to a school, if you choice into a school, there is no bus transportation. So he's not going to the school we're zoned for. He's going to one that's, you know, it's actually closer physically, but it's not the one we're zoned for.
And they won't allow you to either go, okay, I'll drop them off at this bus stop. You have to drive them to school, correct?
I have to drive them to school because the bus stop here, the nearby bus stop is for the other high school. There is no bus in this area for his high school.
I'm saying, though, even if there was, they would still require you to drive.
I mean, at that point, if I got to drive him to another bus stop, I just fucking drive him to school. It's not that far. I don't live that far from the school.
Well, our school, if you go to take them there, it's about to get to the school and drop them off, it takes a good 20 minutes to go about a quarter of a mile.
Well, I mean, at the flip side is you live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
It's still, though, it's insane, man. 20 minutes to go a quarter of a mile to drop kids off because there's so many parents dropping them off in the mornings. Even prior to them not getting a ride, so many people take their kids to school. They don't have them ride the bus.
When my kids were in elementary school, they I would drive them and pick them up just because my schedule allowed it. And once they were a little bit older and my job changed, like you're fucking taking the bus. Or I would have my daughter take the bus in the morning. I'd pick her up in the afternoon. Sometimes I'd drop her off at the school in the morning, have her take the bus home. The same thing with my son with middle school. My daughter, we choiced into a different middle school, so I had to pick her up. So,
are they pretty accepting down here if you want to go to neighboring school districts?
Well, in Hillsborough County, it's all one district, so there's no penalty for not going to the school we're zoned for.
Really?
Yeah. Well, that's what they have this choice. But actually, the reason for the choice program is so they could basically stack football teams. Was really what the purpose was. Even though they won't admit it, that's what it was for. It allowed schools to recruit students based on their abilities for what that school excels at. So, like, a school with a very good marching band, they can go county-wide and try and attract talented performers to join the band.
See, in Ohio, we were able to go to a neighboring school district, whether it was in the county, out of county. It just had to be a neighboring school district.
See, where I grew up, there wasn't any of that, with very few exceptions. Like dude that grew up around the block from me, he was zoned for the school district we were in, but his father was a teacher at another school, not even a neighboring school district, like another school district further away that had a very good football program. So because the father was a teacher, his kid was allowed to go, which I can't blame him, because the school he went to had a great football program. He went on, he played at Rutgers, didn't go pro, but he was a good defensive player.
Well, I think I told you, I moved in with my dad my senior year, enrolled in that school district, transferred to a neighboring school district so I could play football. And I didn't go to school there. I went to the college instead.
Okay.
I said, if I was like a LeBron James, they wouldn't allow that shit to happen. You know what I'm saying?
James.
But I'm Patrick Welsh, a nobody playing a Division III high school football. Nobody cares. But yeah, tell me how that's legal. Like, to enroll in a school, transfer to a neighboring school district just to play football, and then not even attend a class there. Go to the local college.
Hey, if the classes were accepted by that state's board of regents, then
everything was legit. But I laugh. I'm in the Hall of Fame at that school my senior year. I never attended a single class there. I played football there for a couple months, and that's it. And I'm in their Hall of Fame. Like,
that's hilarious.
They said it was weird. I just got a letter like 10 years after I was done playing. I was like, what the fuck?
What are you in their Hall of Fame for? Like, what's your claim to fame?
Football. Like, I was, really? I got all Ohio and like all county and like all different awards and shit. Like, at the one point in time, I was like in the top, I know it was the top 10 for tackles in a season. It may have been more, but, and I think it was for that, but I don't know if they, like, I was all Ohio a couple times. And so I don't know if they counted that, but yeah, I got in with like their first statistician, their first quarterback. For real, it was a bunch of old fucks. I was like, it must have been running out of people to put put us in. But yeah, that was neat, man. I got to go back and get honored at halftime and all that shit.
That's funny. I'll probably never make my high school's Hall of Fame, no matter how famous I get, because I've pissed too many people off. What actually sucked is my senior year, we were a shit football program. We had a lot of kids that didn't care. I'm the only one that played in college off of my team. And we had this one coach. I'm not going to name names, but for some reason, he didn't like me. Don't know why. He didn't like me. The second game of the season, we only played 8-game seasons up there. Second game of the season, I dislocated my knee. It was our homecoming game. We got our dicks knocked in the dirt. The next week I sat out, had an MRI done, went to my doctor at the time was the New York Islanders, the hockey team. It was their doctor was my doctor. I said to him, like, I got 4 games left. I got colleges looking at me. What happens if I play? 'Cause I can walk right now. And he's like, well, I mean, if you really want to play, you can play. We'll just fix whatever you fuck up at the end of the season. But if you can deal with the pain, your knee might lock up because you got floating cartilage. He showed me how to pop my knee back if it locked up, and I went and played 4 fucking games. The last game of my senior year was against Riverhead High School, and it was televised. And at the time, my brother-in-law had gone to, I mean, years prior, but he had gone to Riverhead. He was a firefighter out there. And that was the only game in high school on the varsity team that I played on for 3 years that I didn't start, was that game and the one I missed because I was injured. But because that game meant a lot to me because it was on TV, it was my brother-in-law's, high school, this scumbag fucking sat me. Fucking sat. I mean, what's that?
You get to play or you just didn't start?
I ended up getting in. I just didn't start. And what's crazy about that is every game since I came back from the 1 week of being injured, I played offense, defense, and all special teams. I was on the fucking field from the kickoff to the last whistle. I was on the field the whole fucking time. And this asshole sits me out from starting that game. Such a fucking dickhead. And I find it hilarious that this guy gave me such a hard time. And yet I'm the only one that a couple guys played semi-pro with me after I got kicked out of college, but I'm the only one that went to college and played college ball.
I know coaches can be assholes, like high school coaches and whatnot. And a lot of them, I don't know how you experienced it, but a lot of them, I grew up around them. My dad, I think, actually still coaching. I thought he was going to retire because my last brother is done playing, but I found out he's still coaching. But I literally grew up on a fucking football field. So I knew more than a lot of the coaches that were coaching me. And a lot of them didn't know shit. We had a lot of high school coaches. They really didn't know much, man. And like players that would play, they would help coach when they were older. They weren't good players.
No. And you don't need to be a good player to be a good coach. I got to be honest with you. The fucking smartest, most football IQ'd coach I ever had was a woman, believe it or not. Wylea Slade up in New York. This woman knew more about fucking football, about the technical aspects of the game than any fucking guy I've ever met. This woman was a fucking genius. And the only reason why I think she never went any further than she did was because she was a woman. And she was fucking brilliant and a great coach.
I would say that having a dad in the coaching industry, it's a lot like comedy, man. That's not a meritocracy. You may think it's a meritocracy, but in a lot of ways, it's fucking not. We played for this one coach that he would get credit so much as being a good coach, but it wasn't him. He would surround himself with fantastic assistants. You know what I'm saying? Him himself didn't know that much. He was a great motivator and teams would win, but himself actually teaching and coaching himself, he didn't do it. It was coaches.
But here's the thing. As a head coach, your job is to be a leader. It's an administrative position. So you could not be the strongest position coach or strategy coach, but if you find a great offensive coordinator, a great defensive coordinator, and great position coaches, you can be successful if you know how to run the administrative end of it. That's possible. But to be just a complete shithead, like this guy, this coach that gave me shit, his claim to fame was this one school district finally got their own high school. And the very first year that they existed, they won the championship the Long Island championship in their division. They won this trophy. Like that was his fucking claim to fame, is he was part of that coaching staff. He wasn't the head coach. He was on that coaching staff. But he was a teacher at my high school, so they brought him in because we needed help. My head coach was a fucking great guy. I had him as a social studies teacher, dynamite human being. Guy, his name was Bob Kerr. He's apparently a legendary girls track coach, like won all kinds of shit. Was a great coach years before I was there. By the time I got there, he was kind of, I don't want to use the word washed up, but I think he was over it. And he was the head coach for years, and that was it. That's the way it was. The positional coach is Tony Perna, great guy. I'm still friends with him to this day. I had one coach who was a bodybuilder. He was a strength and conditioning coach. He gave a speech once that was 10 minutes long and consisted of no more than the words of, "You do what you got to do." But he just kept saying it over and over again, rearranging the words. It was like, you do what you got to do. You got to go out there and you know what you got to do. So you just got to do that. And he, like a 10-minute long speech of you do what you got to do. He was great. But this one fucking coach who, again, I'm not going to name him. He was just such a fucking prick, little fucking midget. Should have kicked him.
I could think of many throughout the years, and some for real, my dad, like, it's hard to get a good coaching staff too, dude. People don't want to, they don't get paid anything. Like, the head coaches don't really get paid anything to put in that much time and effort. And then to be an assistant coach, a lot of times my dad, to have assistants, he would have to pay them to be an assistant. Like, because
he's where, Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay. Ohio's a big football state, but down here, believe it or not, the coaches get paid fairly decently.
Serious?
At the high school level? I mean, they're not making $1 million. They're not making six figures, but it's, I think the average head football coach in the state of Florida is making like 30 grand, which isn't a huge number, but
that's not counting their teaching. That's just coaching.
That is the coaches that you can be a high school head coach. You can be a high school head coach in Florida and not be a teacher.
See, that's insane. Like, up in Ohio, that's what the head coaches are making as a teacher and the head coach, like 30 grand.
Yeah. I mean, shit. I forget what the thing is. I'm too lazy to pull it up right now. But somebody went and showed like the highest paid public employee in each state, and like Ohio, it's a coach, college coach. In Texas, it's a college coach. These coaches make fucking money.
Well, the universities. Ohio State's that's a Ohio State University. That's a state college, like
the Ohio State University, sir.
I joked, how they started out, they're like, so they would say, I'm from this college, and then they got down, they're like, I'm from this high school, and then they're like, I'm from this elementary school. I said, eventually they're gonna be like, I'm from my mama's vagina. Like, for real.
I forget who the fuck it was. It was Jared Allen. Was like Jared Allen culinary school. It was just they started making it fucking funny.
But I know dude, they would people would say like their neighborhoods and stuff. They're like, they got to where, they're saying, but I'm like, one of these days people are gonna say that, like, I'm from my mom's pussy.
Mom's vagina.
Yeah, what's up, DeAndrea? The Patriots made a change. They benched Mac Jones, unless he got hurt, and they brought back in the Billy Zapp, and he went down the field and scored right away.
Nice. Yeah. The Patriots fucking Belichick is a fucking sneaky fuck. Like, he is amazing at strategy. And you had mentioned earlier with the Jets and how they had some success with Parcells. Look at the Parcells coaching tree. Every fucking coach that was successful in the past fucking 20 years, with the exception of Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Every coach who won fucking Super Bowls in the past 20 years comes from the Parcells tree. Every one of them.
People forget that it was Belichick that was running those defenses back when the Giants, like, all the way back then.
What I found funny was Tom Coughlin, coach of the Giants at the during their early 2000s, early to mid 2000s reign, and Belichick both have a fucking Super Bowl ring with the Giants under Parcells.
Coughlin was the Jags for a little bit when they were decent.
Yeah, and then he went back to the Jags. I think after he left the Giants, I think he went and was an administrator, and now he's fully retired.
He's got to be old. It's insane, man. You see these people dying and like just people getting old and whatnot.
Coughlin was old 20 years ago. No, what's sad is when you see like the end of last year, Betty White died. All right, and that's sad because Betty White was a goddamn national treasure, but she was 99 years old. I mean, it wasn't that much of a shock that she died. What was a shock was Bob Saget dying. Was Gilbert Gottfried dying.
Norm
Gilbert was older. Norm Macdonald.
Yeah,
Norm was, well, again, sorry.
I was going to say Norm not telling anybody, keeping it to himself. Even though he's talked about bowel cancer enough if you watched his fucking comedy.
Well, going back and looking, it makes sense. But, he was sick and still young, relatively young guy. Bob Saget really fucking hurt. That one really fucking hurt.
Well, Norm was, for me, I think he was one of the funniest fucking people. He's unbelievably funny, and so intelligently funny. It wasn't just a dick joke. Like, he would make a dick joke, and then you'd actually
think about what he said, and it went much further than what you thought at first.
He was very well read. That guy read a lot. Like,
yep.
He read a lot of, I think he liked old like Russian literature and shit like that. But
he was an intelligent guy,
super intelligent. And yeah, well, a lot of people said, who would have thought that out of Bob Saget, Norm Macdonald, and Artie Lang, that Artie would be the one, because they did the dirty work. Yeah.
And Gilbert wasn't in Dirty Work, was he?
No, I'm saying Artie, Saget, and Norm. Just those three.
Yeah. Chevy Chase in that too, and he's still alive.
And everybody says he's a dick. It's interesting.
Oh, incredibly. And it really sucks because growing up, his movies, he was off Saturday Night Live before I was born. But he was one of those guys, Fletch, Vacation, fucking all the Vacation movies except for the second one. Every movie he did, Caddyshack. I love that movie. I adored that guy. And then when I found out he was an asshole, it was just such a heartbreaker.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah. And he's just a complete fucking dick.
Yeah, it's not just like he's a little bit of I have like a guy who's probably been an extreme asshole his whole life, probably, to continue, because a lot of the people they become powerful and it goes to their head. But
money and fame will just be an amplifier of what you truly are. If you're a good person, you may become a little eccentric, but you're still deep down going to be a good person. But if you're an asshole, it's going to inflate your ego, inflate your sense of entitlement, and you're just going to be a fucking asshole. Is Chevy Chase one of the fucking funniest actors of my generation? Absolutely. But you know who else is funny as fuck? Even though he's kind of in the hot seat right now, Bill Murray. But what does Bill Murray do in his fucking free time? He crashes people's wedding fucking photography shoots and takes pictures with them and hangs out and has a good time.
After hearing all those stories now, it makes me wonder, is he trying to hide his, like, make up for him being a horrendous person? You know what I'm saying? Because people, if you don't know, there's a documentary about it. It's like the Bill Murray stories or something. There's all these weird stories where, like, people are playing kickball and Bill Murray will just show up and play kickball with them in the park. People are just doing things in life and Bill Murray shows up and it makes their fucking day. But then you hear things behind the scenes and he does weird stuff to people. And so is it like the Ellen where she's a horrendous person back behind the curtain, but out front she's dancing? She's a nice lady.
No, I think Bill Murray, the thing with Bill Murray may come out that he probably wasn't a saint, but I think he did the things he did to just try and be funny. You know what I mean?
Some of the stuff, if you read, it's like Biden would do that. I said Biden is a failed comic. If you watch a lot of things he would say, I'm like, he's trying to be funny, but it's not. Like, when he was at there was some cancer event and there was people, these are like cancer survivors and different things. And there was an upper deck and he goes, hey, don't try jumping or don't jump. And everybody's like, well, look, he's losing his mind. And I go, he's trying to be funny. It's just not funny.
Yeah, but that could also be part him losing his mind. Now, one presidential fucking quip that was fucking great was not too long after Reagan's assassination attempt. He was giving a speech somewhere and a fucking balloon popped, which obviously everybody's on edge. This balloon fucking pops and his reaction was, missed me. That was, he just like right quick, missed me, and then just kept going.
I know people said he was funny.
Reagan? Oh, he was hilarious. There's a whole lot of recordings of him that were not like official recordings of him making jokes and telling jokes. And he was an actor. So, he was a comedic actor. He was, not the greatest actor in the world, but he was funny. I like the guy. I want to go to his presidential museum because it actually looks fucking cool.
And where is it?
Simi Valley, California. The presidential plane before they had the 747, I forget what plane it was, but they have one at his presidential museum, and it's in this room that one side of one side of this room is it's floor to ceiling windows overlooking the valley, and it's just and the plane is in there as if it's going to fly out of the building. It's just cool looking. I want to see it.
Fucking presidents. All right, will you be voting in a couple weeks?
Of course, it's my civic duty.
And I'm sure you're going for a Charlie Crist, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna like. Oh wait, no. This is Florida, so we got to like fill in the fucking bubble card. It's not like back when I first started voting in New York, we had these voting booths that had all these switches. It was like a fucking wall of switches. So you had to find who it was, and anybody who would vote just on party line would just go like straight down and then pull the lever. Who I vote for governor, I don't like to discuss politics. I don't really like talking about who I vote. What I will say I will not vote for is a tax increase of any kind, so that transportation tax can like suck my ass.
We got the penny for Pasco tax where it's just another, and it's supposed to be transparent and you know where it's all, because it's been going on for a while, and yet it's supposed to go for roads and this and that, but yet you don't see it's really being used like it's supposed to.
Well, they did that here in Hillsborough. It was a 1% tax, so it's one penny on the dollar, and so they put this in, and it was like a year and a half before people started asking questions. Hey, where's this money at? Where's it going? What did it buy? What did it pay for? And they're like, we don't know. And then a judge declared it unconstitutional. So all of that money is A, gone, and B, we don't, as taxpayers, we don't get it back. It was supposed to be, we're going to figure out a way to refund everybody. And they're like, there's no fucking way we can do it. It's 1 cent over a year and a half.
I know you have a brain, so I probably can guess who you're going to be voting for. Do you think Crist has any chance down here?
It depends. And what's really going to depend for Crist is how much of a voter turnout there is. That's what it's going to come down to. It's not going to come down to the sheer number of people who support Crist or support DeSantis. It's going to come down to whose voters come out stronger, as it usually is. So, I mean, as far as that goes, if they can get all those old fogies down in, Southwest Florida, he's got Central Florida could go either way. The problem is right now, everybody's so pissed off at the Biden administration, everything that's going on, that they almost might vote against that party just based off of the fact that they're unhappy. So that might help DeSantis.
Crist isn't like a Gavin Newsom where he's been a fucking lefty blue for a long time. Like,
no, he's a flip-flopper.
Yeah, he's done everything, man. He went from Republican to independent to Democrats, and the Florida's already had.
He goes where the money is coming to him. So, he's one of those people that, okay, I'm getting more money from the Democrat side. I'm a Democrat now. And then 10 years from now, 5 years from now, he might have more money coming from the right. So he'll say, I'm a Republican again. What actually did surprise me, even though it has no bearing on the election this year, was Tulsi Gabbard leaving the Democrat Party.
Oh, I'm not surprised that she made it official, but I'm not a fan. For your listeners, anybody that's participating with the World Economic Forum, they're a globalist and they're not for your country. I think she's going to be like I had a person watching my show, and he was saying that he thinks that the right's going to sweep and they're going to help bring in communism.
All I know is I want Tulsi Gabbard to run for president again, and I will absolutely 100% support her only because I want to have a president of this country that I can jerk off to. And that hasn't happened since Jimmy Carter. And I'm kind of sad about that.
And that was because you were jerking off to the Houses for Humanity, right? That turned you on.
Hey, man, charity work does turn me on.
The way he swings a hammer.
The way he swings that hammer and almost breaks his hip at the same time.
I've seen pictures of him, and he's got like almost like bruises and shit. He's almost transparent because he's so old. You know what I'm saying? And he's still out there like, I don't know if he does anything.
Well, here's the thing. Here's where I'll defend Jimmy Carter. He may have been shitty as a president, but he's done a lot of good things for humanity since then. So as far as him being a good person, I'll say he's a good person. He was a shitty president, but he's a good person.
Do you think he literally like how much hammering does he do that really contributes?
Probably not much at all. I mean, come on, it's photo op. I'm gonna take this hammer. Hey, look at what he's wearing. He's wearing that the plaid shirt all buttoned up and it's clean. He's wearing clean jeans. Like he ain't fucking humping sacks of fucking concrete. He's swinging that hammer for a photo op. But you know what? If him swinging a hammer for a photo op brings money to build houses for people in need, you know what? Take the fucking picture. I'll hold the ladder so he doesn't fucking fall. How about that?
What is like people you talk to think about Biden? Do you talk? I know you don't want to talk politics. I'm just curious. Like, what is like the people? Because we had a relative that was confused. She was shocked. Why don't people like Joe Biden? This lady's like in her 60s. Ain't a relative of mine. I got to put that out. Not a relative of mine. Relative of my wife's.
Still, the way I look at it is, I don't like coming out publicly because I'm going to alienate half my audience, no matter what I say, if I start going political.
You could still like Trump and go, well, that guy's a fucking narcissist and he's all about himself. Just like you can Biden and go, he's losing his cognitive functioning skills.
Oh, he's absolutely. I mean, people that outwardly, if people are going to come to me and be like, yeah, Joe Biden's the fucking greatest, then I'm going to fucking educate them a little bit. Again, I'm an independent. I vote with my fucking brain. I vote for candidates based on their track record of bills they've put in, votes they've made, what they support, who they are. I don't just say, Republican or Democrat. I will vote. I have voted, for a Democrat in this party and a Republican, a Republican in this race, a Democrat in this race. So I try to remain objective to what I think the best fitting person for that job is. I don't judge my friends based on who like now it's like, you voted for Trump. We can't be friends. Fuck you, you scumbag. No, I don't ask who people vote for because I don't fucking care. It's your own business. We can sit down, be civil, have a conversation about almost anything and not have to worry about, he voted for this one or didn't vote for that one. But people that still support Biden, I think are fucking idiots. I'm
curious, does Hillsborough County have a mosquito controller that you vote for?
Why is there a mosquito in here?
No, we got a mosquito controller in Pasco. It's just funny to see the signs out like vote blah 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 for mosquito controller.
Yeah, I think in Hillsborough County that's like an appointed position. Like, you're good with bugs and you've huffed a lot of fucking chemicals. Hey, you're the mosquito controller now.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's an actual thing. I don't want it personally. I'm tired of that shit. I live in a gated community, man. To me, they shouldn't be able to fucking drive in here, and they do. They drive in and spray that stuff. A few weeks ago, we got out of our vehicle. If you don't know, in Florida, we have a truck that drives along and it bing, and it sprays this poison out of it from behind, and it's supposedly to kill mosquitoes, do something to them, and it stinks. Have you smelled it?
No.
So you don't have that in Hillsborough then?
I've never seen
it. Dude, it's a truck that drives along and it just has this, it spits out like a gas of some type of poison and it stinks, man.
I've seen pictures. Are you sure that it's to control the mosquitoes and not to control the humans?
Yeah, well, that's probably really what it is. They say it's for the mosquitoes and it's really to get in our brains. And I think it's those nanobots. But wait, I'm sure you saw that the GMO mosquitoes were released down in the Keys. We had like millions of genetically modified mosquitoes released in the Keys.
I heard about that. And anytime you release anything like that, my thought is put that thing back where it came from or to help me, because that's how this whole fucking China virus started.
Well, and then did you see a company purchased Florida land, the county north of me, Lee County, and it's supposed to be for primates for biological testing and whatnot. Like, so a Chinese company purchased land in Florida to build a facility for primates so they can do testing. And evidently it's on land that it's not sanctioned for that use. So
I would assume so. Now, back in the day, where I grew up on the island of Long, off of the southeastern corner of New York,
island of Long,
there was a little island off of the north. See, Long Island shaped like a fish, and at the east end of the fish there are two forks of the fish's tail, if you will. And the North Fork, right off the tip of the North Fork, which is called Orient Point, there was a small island. Actually, there is a small island. It is still there. And that place used to be called Plum Island National Animal Disease Research Center. And it was where the Department of Agriculture did testing on animals, whether it was biological, who knows what fucking kind of testing is. What's interesting about that place now is it is now part of the Department of Energy. It's no longer part of the Department of Agriculture. So who knows what the fuck they're doing out there. But it's an island, and the whole point was if they're doing research on animal diseases, it's an island. If any of the animals try to escape, they're not going to make it to the mainland because they'd have to go through Plum Gut, and you just can't swim across that. So it's smart to have it on an island. If you're going to do that shit, do it on a fucking island. That's the point.
Yeah, but the people working on that island come to the mainland.
So they do. They do. And what's interesting, do you know what Janet Airlines is? You ever heard of Janet Airlines? Okay. So at McCarran Airport in Las Vegas, Nevada, there is an airline known as Janet Airlines, JANET, standing for just another non-existent terminal. Now, I identified where this airline flies out of. Do you know where they're flying to?
Denver.
Yeah, actually, they're going for that Rocky Mountain High. No, Janet Airlines flies to Groom Lake, also known as Area 51. And those planes, as soon as they're taxiing, you can actually pull up on the the radar, the flight trackers. You can see that flight as soon as it comes off the ground, it disappears. It's not on any flight tracker. Janet Airlines transports people from McCarran Airport to Area 51, for lack of a better term, which is it's called Groom Lake. Plum Island's almost the same thing. There's a ferry service that goes, and you have to go through like multiple layers of security to get to the boat. And like, don't try and go on this island on your own boat, because you'll have a bad time. They will meet you there. They will meet you there with guns, and they are not government employees with guns. They are private contractors, which means you will probably end up in the forever box if you make that fucky wucky.
Wow, I'm just looking at the Janet Airlines right now.
They look like old TWA planes, white planes with a red stripe, no lettering. They have tail numbers, but once they take off, they drop off of the publicly accessed radar.
I'm just reading Wikipedia. It says its purpose is to pick up employees at their home airports and then take them to places of work.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's they may run to other airports, but as far as I know, it just runs between McCarran and Groom Lake.
This says 18 destinations.
Ooh.
It says U.S. Air Force Production Flight Installation Plant 42, Area 51, a base camp, Tonopah Test Range, Harry Reid International Airport. They go to, here's the states they go to: California, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, Utah, and Colorado.
Fucking Ohio, man.
Yeah, right. Patterns.
Well, I mean, you realize the federal government owns more of the state of Nevada than anyone else. They are the biggest landowner in Nevada.
Yeah, I had a thing of all the different states and the military land that's owned on them. It's insane. That you don't know. And what's crazy is that the Chinese companies are buying farmland near military bases. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yep.
And you see that I forget who the dude was. He's like the Department of Interior or something. He was asked about it, and he goes, yeah, I don't really talking about buying houses and stuff. That's somebody else. And the reporter's like, no, these are right by military bases. I forget who he was. It was, but he like poo-pooed it as like not a big deal. And
well, I mean, you also don't want to draw attention to it. I'm sure the people that need to know about it are well fucking aware.
They ain't doing anything because it continues to happen. It's been going on for a long fucking time.
Well, if there's nothing they can do to stop it, they can just monitor it. And again, the U.S. government is not shy about wiretaps and encroaching on freedoms to accomplish their goals.
Oh, but I think, yeah, spy on them all you want, but that shit's right by us. You know what I'm saying? If there's got primates up here doing shit that's right by where we live, who knows what?
Oh, that whole facility, that shit shouldn't fucking happen. But do you realize that there's a bombing range in Florida that's not too far from here? It's actually not too far from you.
Well, dude, that's what I said. If there's a true nuclear war, we're goners. MacDill will be one of the first things hit, and
yeah,
we took a nuclear flip though, and I just have to get a few miles north, and I'm kind of out of the immediate radiation. If it hits, we actually looked one day. If it hits MacDill, I'm kind of because MacDill.
No, I'm close enough where I'll be toast.
Yeah, MacDill's where they run the Middle East. So the shit that's going on in the Middle East ran.
No, that's where they run everything. Comes out of MacDill.
MacDill
is almost Central Command and Special Operation.
I would think there would be some out west though running some. Is it everything's MacDill supposedly?
MacDill is. I'm sure they run different things elsewhere, but the key players. It's basically Pentagon to MacDill is the food chain. And, what better place than the beautiful Tampa Bay area to put the people that are calling the shots? I mean, this is a great place.
I think so. That's what I said, man. People make fun of Florida all you want. I'm like, what? Okay, keep doing it. I don't want people to move down here.
I got this. There's this guy from back home that he'll chime in on shit on Facebook. He'll comment. And like I've unfollowed this guy, but he's the brother of a good high school friend. He was a coach back in the day. So I have a lot of respect for this guy's family, but this dude will chime in on, I forget what the fuck it was. And he's always like shitting on Florida. It's like, dude, you're from New York. All the fucking backwoods ass fucking shit that's going on up there right now. You really shouldn't fucking pick on us too much, especially since all your fucking fellow, New Yorkers are now moving down here in droves.
I know, and I love that too. The people that move down here and then say how shitty it is, and it's like, what the fuck? And they're like, we're gonna change it more like what the place that you left. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's like we're gonna leave New York because of high taxes and corruption. They come down here and there's a 1 cent tax on the. Yes, well, let's vote for that because they're gonna build roads. Like you came from New York. The fucking roads in New York have been under construction since the 1800s. They've never been fucking finished. And you're going to come down here and be like, 1 cent. That's going to fix all the roads here. Yeah, why not?
New York City, the mayor's up there. They're getting rid of rats. Did you hear a speech about rats?
They're going to get rid of rats. My ass. There's only one place in this world that rats don't exist. Do you know where that place is? One fucking Providence in Canada. They did something to kill all the fucking rats.
That's a legit. Like, you really can't prove that. Nobody's been ever.
This area in fucking. It's like the middle of Canada. There are no rats. They have not found any rats. They've gotten rid of them.
They probably have nothing else to advertise about their area. It's like, yeah, we're rat free. Come visit us.
Yeah, you're gonna get rid of the fucking rats in New York City. This place is such a fucking cesspool.
It's just funny hearing Mayor Adams. He goes, everybody knows I don't like rats. Well, not many people do. And
hang on. Did this speech happen to come like within the past week?
Oh yeah.
Okay, he may not have been talking about the actual animal of a rat.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. If you listen to how he was saying it, I was like, oh wow, there's some racist people right now that are thinking a different type of person.
One of those independent journalist sources, I forget which one it was, not InfoWars, but like one of those types. They got one of his aides on film, basically talking about the police and firefighters that lost their jobs because they refused to get the vaccine. And he's like, you know what? Fuck them. They don't want to get something that's proven to be safe that could, protect millions of people. They lost their jobs. Fuck them. Like literally said, fuck them.
Yeah, it was probably Project Veritas.
That's the one. Yes, I'm pretty sure it was Project Veritas.
Yeah, no, what they're doing is they're going to have people, they can't take their trash out and put it on the sidewalks as long. They're trying to limit the time that the trash piles are on the streets, and they think that's going to alleviate the rats.
All right. Have you ever seen the video of Pizza Rat? You know what Pizza Rat is? It was a relatively small rat, carrying a fucking whole slice of New York pizza, which is usually bigger than your face. New York slices in the city are fucking huge. This rat carrying a slice of pizza upstairs, like up the stairs. Like rats in New York don't give a fuck. You ain't getting rid of them. That's like saying I'm gonna get rid of all the cockroaches in New York. You're not gonna fucking do it.
Well, especially, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are going to put a stop to it, right? Hey,
Master Splinter. What was the bad guy's name in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? What's the bad guy's name?
I
remember.
I remember his face. I felt like it started with an S, just the same.
Shithead. I haven't watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in fucking years. I haven't seen any of the movies. I remember the cartoon from back in the day.
What did you see where they got roided up?
No, is that like a new thing?
Yeah, so they did like the CGI version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Dude, they're roided up. They are gigantic. You should see them. They're like these big muscular
well, they are fucking mutant ninja turtles. I mean, come on.
I like the old school back in the 1990.
When they would fucking just eat pizza and party and then go kick some ass.
Shredder. It was an S because it's so close to Splinter, because Splinter almost sounds like Shredder. I know that these were pretty popular when they came out, man.
Hang on, I gotta look it up now.
Seriously, you need to see them roided up. It doesn't. I don't know how anybody could watch it. It just doesn't look normal. It's come on, Teenage
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Have you seen any good movies recently? Because everything I have tried, most things suck. There's not any good movies now. I have a hypothesis for here. I don't think we're going to have good art anymore because the bullying has been erased from our society.
I agree. Jesus Christ, dude.
If you think about it, though, it does, right? So you're looking at the roided up. They look like they're on roids, right? They're gigantic, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's
what it looks like.
But for real, I was thinking about it. Like back in the day, a lot of times people were kind of bullied, they're outcasts, and they would go and create wonderful art for us. And now the bullying has been curtailed; it's not allowed, and mediocrity is being pushed out there, and it's all around us.
Well, I think I don't necessarily know if the bullying is the true part of it. I think it plays in, but we're also at a point now where everyone's afraid of being canceled, so they don't want to do anything too edgy. So that's one thing that's killing art, and I think it's now just the regurgitation of things that have already been done, and instead of trying to improve upon them, they're just like putting a fucking new coat of paint on it and moving on.
David Bradley had he was saying that he thinks that these new remakes, reboots, whatever you want to call them, are going to stop people from watching the original ones, which are actually good. And these new ones are shitty, and people aren't going to ever appreciate the good ones. And that's going to push people from watching this good shit. Because
see that's kind of a complaint I have. Like, I'll use Aladdin as an example. They made that live action version of Aladdin.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it?
I just watched a couple minutes. I'm like, this is bad.
I grew, growing up is when, the original came out. I mean, I was a little older, but, that came out. I was still fairly young, with Robin Williams as the genie. And, he is the genie. I mean, he played that part so fucking perfect that to try and have Will Smith play the same role in a live act, like Will Smith can't even hold Robin Williams' fucking jock. I mean, not even there's no comparison. It was so weak.
Oh, really? That's what I'm saying. I watched just a few minutes and I was like, there's no way I could watch this.
And it seems like they're remaking things with, with casts of people of color just to make movies with people of color. It's not, if you're going to remake something, remake it, but make it better than the original. The whole, everybody's, the Little Mermaid, Ariel's black this time. Who gives a fuck? I want to see what is it going to be better than the original? If it's better than the original, fuck yeah, I'm all for it.
It's impossible. Little Mermaid's actually a good movie. You're not going to top that movie. Sorry, you can't do it.
Perhaps with acting and it being live action, maybe they can, even though the original animated one was great. Here's the thing. Make it fucking better. Don't just cast people for the sake of casting a specific demographic of people. It's more than just the actors, the entire production. Like nothing of the remake of Aladdin I thought was really that great. I mean, yeah, great, you're using CGI and it's so realistic, but there's something to be said about hand-drawn animation. It has a feel, it has a look, it's got something that live action doesn't have and CGI doesn't have. Yeah, CGI is crisper, it's clearer, but you know what? That little bit of fuzz on the image, that it's not perfectly clear, kind of adds a little bit of life to it, believe it or not.
I'm not a big fan of the CGI. All the superheroes flying through fucking space and the cars flying and flipping. Like, I kind of enjoyed back in the day knowing there was a real human being in that fucking car that was flying through the air.
The two genres of movies that I absolutely love are comedies, of course, and horror movies. And horror movies are now becoming like safer. Like we can't show that. Like in one of the, I think, was it the new, it was a Friday the 13th, some new fucking movie. Who the monster kills a gay couple, and it's like, oh my god, the director's homophobic because they killed this gay couple.
It was Halloween because I watched the movie.
That's what it was.
It was Michael Myers' home. They bought his home, and I said, fuck you guys, don't you want equality? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want equality, which now it's about equity, but if you want equality, well, then you should be thankful that the gay couple is getting, dude, they killed a black guy in that movie. I was shocked. Michael Myers, I'm pretty sure it was the black guy killed, because I went, whoa, I was actually shocked because it was like a violent killing of the black guy. And I think it was pretty quick at the beginning because they do. There were a couple that owned Michael Myers. They were renting it. I can't remember. They lived in Michael Myers' home, and he went back to his home, and they were there, and he killed him. And I remember that, people being bothered, and I go, no, you should actually be, back in the day, they wouldn't have been represented in the movie to get killed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So shouldn't you be, don't you want representation?
Yeah. And when it comes to comedy movies, I mean, I can't think of a movie like I watched Anchorman for the first time a couple months ago. I never saw the whole movie. I've seen clips of it, but I didn't like it. I mean, not that I didn't like it. I didn't think it was that fucking funny. There were a couple of funny parts, but it wasn't like, it's not something I'm going to watch again. And when you look at movies like, Airplane, like Caddyshack, Animal House, those, Ghostbusters, all those classic comedy movies, anything Mel Brooks fucking even came near, the writing was just so fucking good. So good.
Well, I can tell you, I'm not Anchorman, Talladega Nights, all those. I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan like other people. And
now Talladega Nights, I liked because I'm a racing fan. I liked the movie. It was funny, but I don't put it on the same level as, a Mel Brooks film. I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan either. Actually, I fucking hate the movie Elf for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think I have any reason to. I just do.
I like Elf. I actually think that's a good movie.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Christmas. I'm the fucking Grinch. But the writing, the quality of the writing, the quality of the acting. I mean, back in the day, actors had to be able to sing, dance, do comedy, do drama, do action. They had to be able to perform. Now, a pretty face and a fucking coach. That's what you get.
Oh, I'm aware of it. And it's saturated, like oversaturated. Where there's too much, like Apple TV has originals, Netflix has originals, Hulu, NBC. Like, you just start naming all these things. And there's people that are like famous in that world, and we don't know who the fuck they are. But 20 years ago, we would have known who they are, which is interesting too.
Well, now you not only have, back then it was like you had ABC, NBC, Fox, you had like the 3 or 4 major studios or broadcasters. That was it. And then HBO came along, and then Showtime and Cinemax, and they started doing original programming. But now like NBC has NBC, like the broadcast networks. So there's original content there. Then they have Peacock, where they have original content on there. Like everybody's got multiple offshoots, and all of it sucks. It's just they're force feeding us fucking garbage. And since you know what, we haven't seen anything good come out in the past 20 years, I guess we'll consider this good. I've never seen an episode of the fucking Walking Dead, not a single episode. Started watching one, then got pissed off when I saw everybody's lawn was mowed. I'm like, fuck this ain't real.
That's what I haven't watched it either, man. I said it's sad. Shannon and I still like watch Seinfeld when we go to bed.
Now here's what's funny. And you mentioned Larry David earlier on in the show. I love Larry David. I absolutely love the guy. I think he's a fucking comedy genius. I hate Jerry Seinfeld. I fucking hate him. Again, no real reason to, aside from the fact that I think he's just fucking annoying, and I don't like the show Seinfeld. I don't think it's funny at all.
If you like Larry David, you should like Seinfeld, because
I know.
After watching Curb and then going back and watching Seinfeld, you see it's Larry David's show predominantly. Like I think, and when he left, you could tell such a difference in those seasons when he wasn't there.
But I think Jerry Seinfeld, I don't know if it's his delivery, if it's just his personality. I just can't stand. Now, the flip side is his series, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, I thought was fucking brilliant, and I love it. But I just can't stand the show Seinfeld.
I know a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not funny." I'm like, I don't know if you could say it's not funny, man. It's
hang on. I don't think that show is comedy. I think it's humor. There is a difference between comedy and humor.
See, I don't know. I just appreciate it, and I liked it when I was younger, but like, I like Curb better. Like, I think Curb Your Enthusiasm is so much.
And
better.
I think because it was on HBO and able to go a little further than Seinfeld did, being a little dirtier, I think that lends to it. I don't think, it's not like I'm taking the angle where Jerry Seinfeld's a piece of shit and he shouldn't be famous and shouldn't have had a show and he's not funny at all. I'm just not a fan. I understand like what he did for television, and I understand why people like that show. I'm just not one of the people who like the show.
So you said that, man, I just lost my train of thought. Holy shit.
How much smoke today?
Probably the same as normal. I forget. It was just something you literally just said, and I was going to. So it's on HBO, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and there's cursing, and there's. What is it like when it's on network TV and syndication? Do they bleep it out? Do you know, or are those parts?
I'm sure they edit it to some degree. If it's over the air broadcast, it's going to be sanitized, just because of the FCC. But anything that's streaming. Streaming, they will leave it relatively unedited. They may, there may be a threshold. You can only say fuck a certain amount of times.
But I just know, like, it'll be like, it's like Seinfeld now. It's in syndication. So it'll be on, like, WB, which I know doesn't exist anymore, I don't think. But you know what I'm saying? It'll be on those stations.
On a network.
The same with,
I'm sure they sanitize it. I mean, it's like saying, Scarface is going to be on TV tonight. It starts at 8, it ends at 8:10. Because with all cutting out all the F words, it's only gonna be 10 minutes long. I'm sure they sanitize it to some level. But then again, today they can get away with a lot more on network, even broadcast, than they did 10 years ago.
Simpsons was on after the game last night. We were at a relative's house, and it was just on the background. And I heard him say fat ass. Lisa called her dad a fat ass, and I'm like, 20 years ago. That would have been they'd have got in trouble. Simpsons, oh my gosh. Like,
well, I mean, I don't know if you remember back when that show came out, was it 87, 88, 89, late 80s it came out? Like Bart Simpson saying "eat my shorts, man" was like he said all 7 of Carlin's fucking dirty words at the same time with that. It is what it was like. It was like he was the fucking worst thing in the world. And there were groups out there that were basically saying Bart Simpson's the fucking worst thing in the world right now.
And now there's that's so tame compared to what's going on in the world, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh man, we got 6 minutes left. Yeah. So Seinfeld. Again,
I was gonna ask, do we solve the Waukesha parade suspect?
Yeah, fuck that guy. He's gonna get convicted. Like if he doesn't get convicted, I'm gonna be fucking surprised. Yeah, I'll be absolutely fucking shocked.
I'm curious. Do you talk with your wife about stuff like this? Like, do you talk about?
Not really. She has very little interest in it. See, like things like that, current events type stuff like that, I like to pay attention to. I've always been fascinated by the legal process, the court process. So if there's a good trial going on, I'll watch shit. But she's not into it. She likes reading her romance novels, and that's her thing. That's her jam.
You see Andrews or whatever. I guess that's not a romance.
Oh, she reads romance novels are her jam. That's what she likes to do.
So they have pictures on the cover with the guy with the long flowing Fabio hair holding really?
Of course, yeah. Well, I make a joke. I talk about on stage, talking about the differences between me and my wife. She'll be sitting there watching one of those Hallmark movies or reading a romance book, and I'm Googling pictures of horses' dicks to send to my friends. I mean, that's what I do.
Do you think she does more than read the romance novels? Does she ever use them for
masturbatory material?
Yeah,
I don't fucking know.
I don't
fucking know.
Would you care if you walked in and she was reading a book and she was masturbating?
I'd dive in fucking face first. Jesus Christ, keep reading. I'll fucking munch. Whatever.
I have no idea. I'm just wondering, like, how people are. Some people would be. Okay, let me ask you this. So like men, I said, like, I think it's disgusting that the flesh, what the flesh thing. What's the hell this called? The people that flush the fleshlight.
Oh,
like I said, if like a woman's caught you doing that, like that's gross to me. And I said, we were talking and I said, it's not like a dildo for a woman. It'd be like you walking in and she's riding one of those torsos with, you ever seen those where they have like a torso and then it has the cock added to it? If you walked in and your wife was riding one of those, would that like freak you out? Or
I would probably laugh my ass off, to be honest with you. I would think it's fucking hilarious. I'm fucked up in the head though. You know this. I would think it's fucking hilarious.
But isn't that a little bit more than a little dildo, don't you think? If she's
it is. But my views on it, shit. If that's what's getting her off right now, fucking ride on. I'll get a fucking riding crop. You fucking ride that thing. I'll whip your ass as you do it. It'll be fun. Who gives a fuck?
We'll bring Raj in here. He can play drums and
we'll get a good beat going. It'll be fun.
Please share your Netflix.
Family walks into a talent agent's office.
But hey, share your Netflix and chill story. Would your wife wanted to Netflix and chill with the
kids? So it was a night. I think I was working or I was out of town doing something, and she told the kids, "Oh, we're just gonna get takeout and go home, Netflix and chill." And my son, who I forget how old he was at the time, had to explain to my wife what Netflix and chill meant because she didn't know.
Oh, that's funny, man.
It's crazy. So Patrick Welsh, we're gonna wrap this up. We got just under 2 minutes to go. So Patrick, tell the masses where they could find your I'm Not Right show, which is fucking fantastic. And if you're not following it, you fucking should.
It's on Twitch Monday through Friday, 11 to 3 Eastern. 11 to 3 Eastern. That is AM to PM. I'm Not Right to Network on Twitch. And again, I should be joining the IRN soon. So hopefully you all listening on here will be hearing me sooner than later.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And we'll talk later. I would like to come back on your show. We'll work that out.
Anytime, man.
You got any live shows coming up? Comedy performances?
I'm gonna be at the strip club, The Whiskey. Have you done that yet?
I have not. Who runs that?
I think Pat Largo, it's his room. November 19th, The Whiskey. I don't know where it is yet. I think it's Apollo Beach, Tampa. I have no idea. The Whiskey's it's a strip club that has comedy in it. November 19th at 8:00.
Nice. I don't think I've ever met Pat Largo. I've heard things, but I've never met him. I'm a hermit. I don't go out, and I think I've pissed everybody off, so nobody books me.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I barely get booked locally either. So
we'll book each other. I have nothing going on, so fucking book me. I do everything. I'm actually doing I've been doing a lot of like old lady birthday parties lately, dude. And it's fucked up because I do jokes about Disney characters fisting each other and they like it. Like, that's what they want.
Oh, of course.
Fucking money's green, so I'll do it. But it's just weird doing old lady birthday parties.
We just don't start doing the old ladies. That's draw the line there.
I mean, it wouldn't be the fucking weirdest thing I've done. I've done crazier shit. So give me 1 second. Let me sign off on this for the IRN. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Roger that. We'll be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Big thank you to Patrick Welsh for coming on. Very much appreciated, Patrick. And please check out his show, I'm Not Right Network, on the Twitch. Offline on that. All right, cool. All right. Went 16 seconds over. Fuck it. So we're still live on YouTube. But yeah, so I haven't been fucking I did the open mic at O'Brien's on Dale Mabry a couple weeks ago. Who the hell's what the hell's his name? Ace Williams.
Oh, really?
Hillary, yeah, he's running with Bash. So I went and did that. Well, Nicole was doing it, so I figured I'll get some stage time. But yeah, I've been doing private shows. I've been doing a lot of private shows. I mean, I'll take the fucking money because it pays better than most of the club gigs here, but shit.
No, I can't like you. I can't really work locally because of radio drama, and it's a club that's. It's funny. Everybody acts like brothers in the comedy world, but there's multiple groups. It's all
honestly not down here. Back home, I have no problem getting booked in clubs. No problem. No fucking problem.
Yeah, it's weird. And then you see what goes on down here, and it's like, wow, it's definitely not a meritocracy. And what it does is it actually harms comedy in general, because people that aren't very good are on stage, and then people think that's what comedy is. And
well, we have too many gatekeepers. I think that's the biggest thing. Is there are so many gatekeepers down here, not just within the club. I mean, it seems like down here, in order to get booked at a club, you got to kiss ass nonstop. You got to fucking bust tables to get fucking stage time.
There's, even if you get into clubs, then they do the whole, yeah, I'll get back to you. And it's just, and there's some places, man, because we have a constant turnover at a lot of the audiences will be just tourists, and you know what I'm saying? So they'll use the same comedians over and over and over and not really diversify. Yep. And
man, yeah. I did a show. I did a show last year at Snappers. It was 4th of July weekend. I guess whoever the opener they had backed out, dropped out. I don't remember what the fucking deal was, but it was Kojo Prince and John Butera, my buddy from New York. So John set me up. I did 2 shows. I think it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or I did 1 show Thursday and 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. Fucking crushed. I had people come, and John's like, "Oh, you seems like you're really making an impression." Not a fucking call. Not a fucking call. I did that haunted fucking Hollywood show with you. Brought people. I had a bunch of people in the audience. Both shows I did. Not a fucking call.
Dude, I worked a weekend there, and I figured out by the amount of people that came and watched me, they made money by booking me. And I'm like, yeah, there's not a lot of people that you could bring in that you're going to make money off of that person. But so many people,
the ones locally that I'm seeing getting booked, those are the ones that will, the club will say, you're going to perform here. You're going to be a regular here. You can't go anywhere else. You can't perform anywhere else. So, you end up with these kids that are, afraid to go do anything.
And they'll work for, most comics were whores. We'll go on stage for free, but a lot of them, like when I'll just say one club was purchased by an owner of another club. And when they purchased that club, they stopped giving the features a hotel room, and they lowered their pay by almost 50%.
Wow.
And you know what? I do believe I'm the only one that really said anything. They actually told me, they said, "Hey, you're booked for this week, and there was some mistake with there's no room. They said there's been confusion. There's no hotel room." And I go, "No, there's no confusion. We were booked with a hotel room and this pay." And they're like, "No, that's blah, blah, blah." And then they tried to act like, "Oh no, there was no." I'm like, "That's what we were booked under. You just because you purchased the club, when you start booking your new people, you can change what they got booked under, but you should stick to that." And here's the thing, you know what they did? Fuck your weekend. I said they told me, they just said fuck your weekend. They took it away from me, and they actually gave it to one of the people that you named just a couple minutes ago. Because some people will go and they will basically.
Oh,
To me, they go and whore themselves out, and that's why we don't get the pay that we should. That's why we don't get respected like we should. If all the comics would, for real, dude, we're getting paid what people got paid in the 80s.
well, what a lot of clubs now look at, and thanks for sticking around, whoever's because this was still live on Facebook, by the way. Everybody looks at the Comedy Store in LA, where to this day I think they pay features $15.
Oh yeah, it's nothing. They don't. It's like $20, I think.
But here's the thing: at the Comedy Store, you have opportunities to be seen by industry people. Where if you're good, you will get other work. The Comedy Store is nothing but a fucking gym for comedians. That's really what it is. And that's why they not only pay fucking shit, but the comics are cool with it because they know that if they can be funny at the Comedy Store, they're going to get booked elsewhere. Guaranteed.
And that's a lot of it's almost their open mic, some of them. Like I've been there, and like Rob Schneider's up there with notes. And then Bobby Lee's doing Finally Two material from 20 years ago. So you have no idea what you're going to get there. Yeah, they don't. Shit. And Mitzi didn't want to pay him anything because they weren't getting paid anything. She's like, you get paid in exposure. And it's like, well.
That's why Jay Leno got banned, because he was one of the people that stood up and said, we should fucking get paid. And they increased the pay to $15.
And she didn't I was just going to say, she didn't like Seinfeld. She liked to go and mold somebody. We're talking about Mitzi Shore, who owned the Comedy Store, Pauly Shore's mom. And she liked to mold people, and you should wear a scarf. She would tell people to wear hats and shits. But
here's the thing though. If you made it at the fucking Comedy Store, if you listened to her, she opened doors. So at the Comedy Store, getting paid in exposure, you were legitimately getting paid. You were getting exposure. No fucking doubt.
It's not, I think it's probably was better back then, because that's where the industry did go, and they would have, that place made so many people.
Well, what the ending to that was the internet, and things like YouTube, where, you could see anyone's material and get a feel for nationwide at the push of a button. It wasn't, you didn't have to go to the store on a fucking Thursday night, Wednesday night down, to the belly room and try and catch somebody, doing their open mic set. But the thing is, to this day, that's now become, it's not only like a comedy gym where you're working out material. It's like a fucking meeting house. It's like the Friars Club. It's where the comedians go, they hang out. It's their place. They make jokes, they go on stage, so to this day, the Comedy Store is still the exception. No offense to the Tampa Improv, but you're not exactly getting a fucking room full of industry people watching the open mic, so to say, oh, we're going to pay you an exposure because we're the Tampa Improv. No, it's not even fucking, you're not even on the same fucking planet as the Comedy Store. Even today, no offense to, I used the Tampa Improv as a, please don't stop booking me. Oh wait, they don't fucking book me.
Yeah, it's I think it's rather pathetic, actually, how the booking process works and how people are. And again, we know if you're out and about a little bit, you kind of know who's funny and know who's not. And what's crazy is the crowds affirm it quite often, but yet the bookers seemingly don't hear it. I don't understand it. So I'll never understand it, but
because they know by booking a less funny comedian for $10 is a better business deal for them than booking a funny comedian for $100.
Well, probably I'm friends with Rob Gargiulo, who books a lot of shows, and he's tried to this one guy, and the guy always tells him, nah, man, I need at least 500. He's telling him, he knows his worth. He would rather miss out on $350 because he wants 500. But, and he sticks to that every fucking time, man. And that's well, at least he knows his worth. You know what I'm saying? But that's,
absolutely. Now, where's Rob doing it? Where's he got his shows located at? What, you don't have to tell me the exact club, but general area, city.
He's still doing all over. He does up here in Spring Hill. Once a month, there's a play, but he's in Fort Lauderdale. I'm actually going down Thursday night. I'm going down because Doug Allen, the creator of Entourage, is going to be down there doing the podcast that Rob works for. And
nice.
I love Entourage, and the guy that created it, he has a podcast, so they talk about Entourage and different things. And just the way he is as a person, I fucking love him. I want to meet this guy. And I heard him he's going to be where Rob is. So I told Rob, I'm like, can I come down here and meet him? So he's going to have me meet him. We're going to go do comedy and whatnot. But yeah, he does shows kind of. They were all over, but he's kind of pulling back a little bit because it's a lot of work, man, to constantly run a monthly show. Yeah.
Well, tell Rob I miss him. I love him, and to book me.
I definitely will. He was in the Naples area. If they hadn't moved across the state where they live, their house would have been on like 3 or 4 feet of water.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Last I spoke to him, I mean, it's been a hot minute since I spoke to him. It was obviously pre-COVID. Well, he was moving to Naples.
Yeah, and now he's over Fort Lauderdale area. Yeah, he books a job, podcast, Patrick Bet David podcast. God damn that dude! He fucking got Oliver Stone. Like he was in contact with Oliver Stone's people and Alex Jones. He got Alex Jones to come there, but they had to charter a flight because he wasn't going to fly, having to wear a mask. And but dude, this podcast he works for, they fly people in. They give him a hotel. They give him a rental car. They give him food. They pay for all that shit to come in and be a guest on their podcast.
Jesus. And all I give you is a fucking high five.
I know. You can't even be in person to give me a little handy under the table.
Next time, man. Next time.
Well, hey, I would love to keep talking, but I got to probably say good night to my wife before she goes to bed. She got to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to go have me some coffee, ice cream, and the edibles kicking in really well. So I'm going to go enjoy some ice cream, watch some fucking bullshit.
Wait, did you just say edibles kicking in?
Yeah.
Wait, when did this start?
About a year ago.
Really? Do you use it to sleep or?
Yeah, just to chill out, veg out, relax, go to sleep with a smile on my face instead of thinking about blowing my brains out. It works.
Is this medicinally or?
Define medicinally.
I'm just wondering, are you going through the state or?
No, I actually I order them online. It is legal. I don't have a card, but it is legal due to some fantastic legislation. I have them shipped to me by the U.S. Postal Service, brings them from California.
You can get shockingly the Delta.
That's what I get.
9. Not even Delta 8. You can get Delta 9 edibles, which blows my mind.
That's what I get. That's what I get. And it's I have it on subscription. I want to say I'm paying $45 for, I think it's 25 milligram gummies.
Yeah, a person told me about it. I'm like, wait. So Delta 9, which is, if you don't know, that's more of the psychoactive than the Delta 8. And that's predominantly what's actually affecting you when you're smoking. And they sell it through the mail legally, edibles. And that I was just so shocked to find. So do you enjoy them? Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Well, cool.
I mean, it takes a little while to kick in because it's an edible, but I ate it right before we started the show. So it's like fully kicking in. I like them. Again, I don't eat them during the day. It's just, at night. That's my, and not even every night. On the weekends, though, I'll eat 2 of them.
Yeah, edibles don't do anything for me. I could eat 200 milligrams and nothing.
Nah, it gets me. It gets me where I need to be. I mean, I'm not. I believe it or not. Even though I suck on a fucking douche flute and occasionally will smoke a cigarette, I'm not a big fan of smoking weed anymore. I'm against it. I'd just rather just eat a fucking gummy.
How many milligrams did you say again?
25 just gets me kind of chill where I am now. On the weekends, if I don't have work the next day, I'll eat 50, eat 50 milligrams. Occasionally I'll pop a third one just for fuck's sake.
I envy you. I wish I could do that. I'm not kidding. I could eat 4. I've eaten 420 milligrams before and kind of felt it. Recently a person gave me 160 and they're like, dude, don't eat all that at once. And I'm like, and I was getting ready to eat it before a show and they're like, you can't do it before the show. And I'm like, I'll be fine. But then it kind of melted. So I had to bring it home and let it get frozen. But I ate it and it was like, I really didn't feel it.
You smoke all the time, right?
Oh, I have all day, every day for
Yeah, that's why. Like during the day, I don't. I don't smoke at all. I don't take the edible. I only use them at night, a couple nights a week, and then on the weekends.
I've cut back though. I'm proud of myself. I don't smoke like I used to. Literally, like I would drop my kids off at school and I would be smoking in the car, like on the way to work or on the way back home, and I don't do that shit. I don't you do it as much as I like as much, you know what I'm saying? I still do it, but not like bowl after bowl after bowl, just a couple. And
now you just take a couple hits and chill out.
Yep. But yeah, I gotta go chill with my wife before she gets to sleep.
You do that. Everybody, thank you for watching. If you're still watching, Patrick, it's always a pleasure, you know that. And you're always welcome back. You know that.
Yeah, I seriously I have fun, or I wouldn't be participating with you if I didn't enjoy myself.
Hey, if you enjoyed it half as much as me, that means I enjoyed it twice as much as you.
Oh, well, that sounds a little bit too confusing to me. So I think that's good for me to sign off on.
That works. All right, Patrick, thank you. Everybody, thank you for watching. We'll do this again next week, 8 p.m. on Tuesday night. Take care, brush your hair, and don't forget to spay